Hello, welcome to the Player Ratings tier list. This is Back in the Net. We're an AFC Bournemouth fan channel. My name's Sam.
My name's Tom.
It's been a superb season for the Cherries. We're all gearing up for the Euros, but we need to take this opportunity to rank each and every player that was expected to play and maybe did play significant amounts of minutes for the Cherries. And to do this, Tom, we've got a tier list. We can see it here, and I can see a number of categories that you've devised here.
Yes, we have indeed. So we go right at the bottom, which I'm sure won't be many in there, which is bin, up to meh, decent, straight in the middle, bravo, and flawless at the top. So quite self-explanatory, mate, and we can whack them all in there. I haven't thought about what I'm going to do for each, so interested to see what we do. But yeah, we've got a whole array of players and performances, but I think on the whole we've had a good season, so it should be good.
We're going to make this random. We're not doing it in alphabetical order or anything like that. We're literally just going to pick what's in front of us. We've got plenty of players to go through. We will motor on through them, and we start with Antoine Semenyo.
Oh, okay.
What a player.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. I think if you go all the way back, I remember there being a time where everyone was quite surprised he wasn't getting the minutes. And he wasn't. I think people forget that he didn't play a lot at the start.
Right.
And then he come into it, always made impacts in games. I think there were a few people that were saying he could be in with a shout for player of the season.
Exactly.
I don't think he was ever going to get it, but I could see why he was in the conversation. I think he's been really good. He literally is indestructible after that injury that he was back the next week, played 90 minutes. He's got to go and bravo for me.
Yeah, absolutely. What I like about him is that he can shoot with his left, shoot with his right. Must be a fullback's nightmare when you've got him bearing down on you. So yeah, agree with that.
I always felt like he was going to come in as a real squad backup-y sort of player. So he's really surprised me, and for in a positive way.
Next, we've got Ryan Fredericks, someone that was maybe expected to play at some point, but never did. Obviously, it's horrible when you're a player that is blighted by injury. We've had it with players before, but Ryan Fredericks seems to be another one of them. I mean, what can you say about him? Because we don't know much about him. What was the last time we played? Was it Arsenal?
3-3 against Arsenal.
3-2.
3-2, sorry. Yeah, 3-2 against Arsenal. He came on in that game, so I think that was the last time he played. Yeah, obviously, I don't even really know what the issue is. No. But he literally didn't even play in pre-season. I think Andoni said he hadn't even seen him really, play football properly. So, yeah, real weird one. The only thing I would say is I think that's one that we maybe need to learn from. So I think he was offered 1-year contracts in quite a lot of places when he was let go by West Ham. The reason he came to us because we offered him 2. Maybe there's a reason why other clubs are offering him 1. He hasn't got the fitness. I mean, he's not going to be at the club any longer. So yeah, blow for him. And I don't know whether he'll just hang up his boots now. I don't know, if he wants to be a coach, I don't know. Or he drops down the leagues, tries to get fit. Real shame, but all I can think of is him coming on under O'Neill at Forest.
Yeah. He did well then, yeah. 45 minutes, good 45 minutes.
Apart from that, he's been an absolute stinker of a signing, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, the one thing I could say also about Ryan Fredericks is that when we interviewed Harry Redknapp, he sort of looked at us with a questionable face and said, "Really? Have you signed him?" And he obviously had experience of working with him. Next, another player that we've not seen, Darren Randolph. We went to a development game actually, and he was due to start that, but I think he had a seizure or something on the pitch whilst he was warming up beforehand. So he didn't play. Thankfully, he made a full recovery, but not so full as to be involved with anything on the pitch for the first team. Has he been even named on the bench a couple of times, maybe? Maybe.
Not 100% sure, actually. But yeah, we haven't seen him, as you said. We went to a development game, saw him in the lineup, and I thought, hallelujah. He's going to be in there. But yeah, unfortunately, something happened health-wise. And yeah, it's a weird one. I think there's a lot of talk of it at the moment with the Euros coming up. People surprised that Henderson hasn't gone, for example, because they've gone, okay, but when you've got a squad, he's good in the dressing room. I think we had it before with Connor Cody. We've had it with some players. And I think he's clearly one of them. They all speak well of him. Every time there's some sort of behind-the-scenes thing, he's always on there.
Yeah, he is.
But he's probably getting paid a fair whack to be a cheerleader. And if we're going to have a cheerleader, I'd rather his missus. But I think he's clearly, he has been a good goalkeeper in his career. He can't get fit. He's not going to challenge. He's not going to be here any longer. He's got to go in the bin, unfortunately. I mean, we've literally never seen him.
No, agreed. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Right, next we got Jadon Anthony, who, of course, got loaned out to Leeds United.
I'm sure they come up, though.
3 appearances in the Premier League. Bless you, Leeds. Really sad about that, but then we have got Saints instead. So
forget about that.
So difficult, isn't it? But
it's been a positive, mate. It's been a positive.
They
do struggle at Wembley, don't they, them boys? For a big club, they struggle on the big stage.
6 times.
Oh my God.
Jadon Anthony, weirdly, I thought he did all right.
he started the season, and Andoni, I've said this to a lot of people, I appreciate when people say, there's probably wingers that we've got and that we're looking at that have maybe got a bit more technical quality, a little bit more about them. Equally, I think it was shown at the start of the season that Andoni, the way we play, he likes the way that he presses.
Yeah.
I think Parker said it when we had him. Like, he didn't know anything about him, but he was really good at taking on instructions and doing a role that I wanted him to do. And he was brilliant that season, him and Jay-Z down that left-hand side. And yeah, maybe he doesn't have all the attributes yet, but could he be a good squad player going forward? I think he maybe could. And the interesting thing for me is it's a real blow because he could have gone to a lot of championship clubs and played football.
But then Leeds didn't play him that often, did they? He got some minutes at Wembley, but
yeah, and they would argue that, they were unlucky not to get top 2, so they probably didn't need to play, and they got a lot of good wingers. But it was a weird one. It was obviously to do with the Sinisterra thing, but he actually started just as many games for us as he did then. And I remember him being an absolute handful at Anfield.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
So he started all right for us. I think Andoni liked him, but
did he like him enough?
No, and the problem is the loan didn't work. I think when you've got a player that's gone on loan for most of the season, I was going to say, was the loan a good thing? It wasn't, because it didn't work. I kind of wish that in January, maybe they didn't want to for the squad leads, but I wish we could have gone, we're going to send him somewhere else. I wouldn't be shocked if he was in the squad next season rather than gone out on loan.
Okay.
Just because of the way he plays. Don't think he would play. It depends on him as well. Does he want to go and play? He's had a season not playing much. We have to put him in Meh.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bid him, but I'm going to put him in Meh because the loan didn't work either.
Next then, we've got Enes Unal, who has been confirmed as a player, an AFC Bournemouth player, not just a loan player, a permanent signing.
Yeah.
It was confirmed last week that he is now a red and black for good, a 4-year contract, isn't it, for Enes? And he's a weird one because I don't think I've seen enough of him to know sort of what type of player he is. But when he has played, you can see his endeavour. He's popped up with a couple of goals. He can always be a nuisance, but is he a number 9? Is he a number 10? We don't quite know his role. However, obviously the recruitment and the powers that be at AFC Bournemouth, including Andoni, think that he could do a job for us. It just depends whether it's as the main man or maybe as a number 10, we don't know. Yeah,
or kind of a really strong backup. I think in January he was definitely used as we obviously had Dom Solanke and we'll have to remain to be seen if he stays. But at the end of the day, no disrespect to Kieffer, who we'll come on to, but we upgraded in our backup, didn't we, basically? They're similar type players. I think Unal's got more about him, a bit younger as well. But I think if you look at the numbers side of it, you look at what he's done in La Liga, very impressive. You look at what he's done in a very short amount of time. His goals to minutes ratio, it's a lot better than when Dom first came, I'll tell you that. But unfortunately for him, it's not his fault. Our main striker is a hell of a player. So it's hard. But he's had to come off the bench in a few games. I thought he's made impacts. I mean, he nearly won us with a title. When he come on against City, he was unlucky. I like him. I think he's a very different player to Dom. I think we need to get away from comparing him to Dom. And it remains to be seen. I think if we keep Dom, he would obviously be back up to Dom. If we were to lose Dom, I think most fans would say we still need to get someone a level above Unal, and that's not his fault. But I think for him, it's going to be keeping him fit, because I look at him and, all his records in Spain and stuff, and I think the only time he doesn't score is because he has spells out injured.
He played 16 games. 16.
Did he? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did come on in most games as well, didn't he? So, but yeah, short sample size. But from what I thought of a player that's just going to be coming off the bench for Dom most of the time, decent.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Right, next, Alex Scott. We will zip through these.
Yeah, okay.
Alex Scott, what have your impressions of him been? He's sort of grown into his role at AFC Bournemouth. At first, I mean, obviously, it was blighted by injury when he joined us. We saw these little flashes in games, but never really the consistency. And then you look at, another player that could be in his position. We don't really know where his best position is, but Lewis Cook, there was no way that he was going to dislodge him. Ryan Christie, no chance. Maybe Justin Kluivert in the 10. Absolutely not. But I think towards the end of the season, we saw a little bit more of him, and I was quite impressed by what I saw.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why it hasn't quite kicked on for him. I think one, obviously major one, is injuries that he's had since he come. But also what you alluded to, mate, the fact that he's had to play some games sat deep, and I thought, he looks all right there. Then we've gone, actually, let's put him in more of a box-to-box, like for Christie, say, he looks all right. And then we put him in a 10, okay, looks all right. But which one's he best at? I'm not quite sure yet. And then you go, I'll put him with Lewis. Are they too similar? So, yeah, it's an interesting one. But I think what we've got to look at a little bit, a bit like when I was talking about Unal and Solanke, and you have to be careful how you judge players. He's a teenager, he's a kid. Is he still a teen? I think he's still a teen.
Yeah, probably.
If we had just bought someone through the academy and started playing him a bit, and he played like Alex Scott, we'd go, Jesus.
Yeah.
But because everyone around football knows how good he is, the bar was so high.
Yeah, and also the price tag.
Price tag. So I think we know he's going to get better. I think for now we just put him in decent.
Yeah.
Because I still think he's contributed well.
Next, Ryan Christie. I mean, I think he's been brilliant. He's been, let's put it this way, him and Solanke were the two definites on our top four shortlist of players of the season. There's always any kind of criticism that you could put on players. For instance, the numbers game doesn't quite pop up with the goals. You know, he's produced a few assists, but what a player, and we can't do without him.
No, we can't, mate. And there was a few times, wasn't there, where we kind of left him out, especially in the cups, and we've had to bring him on at half-time to change the game. And he did get the winner at Swansea, let's remind everyone, in the cup. But yeah, in the Premier League, I mean, he's been absolutely incredible. He's one of them players that easy to go under the radar. No one else would be talking about him, and that's absolutely fine with me. I'm really interested to see how they deploy him in the Euros because he often plays wider at a 10. Let's see when they put him, because Scotland, for a team that are absolutely crap, they do have like McTominay, McGinn, so they have a few deeper players. So will Christie play that role? I'm not sure. But for me, he was my player of the season because I think Dom's better, had a better season, but a personal preference, I just think the fact that I thought he was a backup winger, and that was one of our best. The only reason he's not going to the top, he didn't score a Premier League goal. You can't be flawless if he didn't score a Premier League goal. For me, he's bravo. It's not like he's a centre half.
Okay.
Still should score a goal.
I genuinely thought he was going to put him in flawless.
Look at the word of flawless. He didn't score a goal. He had some chances to score goals, but for me, he's been sensational.
Okay, next then, we've got Chris Mepham. Chris Meps played 10 times. He was in the squad 24 times. One of these players
he's played less than Unal.
Yeah, I know. And he's a player that always comes in, is great when he comes in, but then towards the end of the season, it was some kind of mystery illness that kept him out. But he's always played for Wales. He's such an enigma. How he's not playing week in, week out. Some people maybe don't know. Some people think, should he go? And maybe he was in loan conversations in January, I think, saying, he needs to get more minutes. That was maybe if Wales were in a good spot for the Euros. He's never really let us down.
No, I know what you mean. I think, I was going to say the same thing, mate. I think if Wales had qualified, he would have demanded a loan. I would assume. But because they didn't, he probably was, and maybe this illness was coming around as well. I think Sheffield United were looking at him. So obviously a team that was scrapping at the bottom that thought he could do a job. And listen, I think what a weird one with Meps is, I think if like one of the centre halves gets injured, we go, oh no. And then Meps plays, we go, that's fine. I forgot Meps is good. And I agree with that. But then when Meps had a spell, and I thought, done absolutely fine, 7, 8 out of 10, perfect. Then Senesi come back in, and I thought, there is a level. Yeah. There is a level with passing range, with loads of bits. And that's not against Meps, just Senesi's a level above.
It's when you have your sort of Tesco's Cola, and you think, you know what, I love this. I love a can of Tesco's Cola.
Yeah.
That's great. Think, it does the job, fills a hole, and then a can of Coke is presented to you. You're like, okay.
There's a little bit of a step up. Yeah, no.
Nothing wrong with Tesco's.
And maybe that's just Wales to Argentina, mate. But what I would say is, I think he'd be a good player for any championship club.
Yep.
This is just conjecture because I don't know the guy. Is he demanding football enough? In my opinion, I feel this virtually his whole Bournemouth career, he's been backup. Why is he not forcing a move somewhere? I would. He can walk into most championship clubs, in my opinion, and be a really good centre half. So I think it's down to him now.
But one thing I would say though, because of, his professionalism to turn up on random occasions and put in an absolute shift.
Back, right
he keeps himself in shape. And like you say, utility player at times, but then often in his favoured position as well. I don't know. What do you think for him?
I'm going to go for him personally. He would have wanted to. There was a few times where Senesi was out, injured. You got to remember, we hadn't seen Zabarnyi before this season. He had a chance to stake a claim. I don't think he quite did it. Even when he come in and, like I said, done a job, he was never to that level. So for him personally as well, you got to go meh, because he's never really been a starter.
Okay, then next we're going to go for one of his defensive teammates, Marcus Senesi. Seen a few Instagram posts of his recently. Fair play, Marcus.
Yeah, good on.
What can you say about Marcus?
I saw what I will say is,
he's one of your favourite players now, really.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I saw his little face on these little images before, and I thought he's a good-looking guy, isn't he?
He's a good-looking guy.
I tell you what,
I'm lucky not to make the Argentinian squads.
They reckon it's literally because Martinez has come back quicker than expected. The Man United centre half, who's obviously brilliant, left-sided centre back, and he's kind of his backup. So, shame for him, but it shows how strong they must be, because I think Senesi's he's got I think he's got one of the best goal and assists of any centre-back in the league.
Yeah, he scored 4 goals for us, but plenty of assists as well. It was over 10 combined, I'm sure. 31 appearances.
Centre-back.
Yeah, 31 appearances. It felt like he was out for longer.
Yeah, which I think is a compliment that you notice it.
Yeah.
And what also, I think he was joint most in the league for most yellow cards.
Helped.
He loves a yellow, doesn't
with
he?
A couple of brilliant goals for us. I certainly remember the one at Crystal Palace where Sinisterra, I think, just got the flick on and then he came in. And then obviously the Old Trafford goal as well. Loves a knee slide. What's there not to love about this guy?
If he had a bit more
pace.
Yeah, natural pace. Because that's why he gets more yellows, I think. Because he gets caught and he has to just take them down. Then he would be higher.
But it's in his head, isn't it? That's
very
where
talented footballer.
So where you go for?
I love him. I absolutely love him. Bravo for me.
Bravo.
Yeah, he was in my conversation for kind of like top 5s or whatever for the season, definitely.
Next, Philip Billing. I wonder where his future lies. Perhaps not at AFC Bournemouth. Such a shame because, 29 times he played in the Premier League this season, scoring a couple of goals for us. And, obviously in previous seasons, he's been absolutely pivotal to us and has popped up with a number of key goals. But this season, I think he's found it hard. He's trying to displace Ryan Christie, Justin Kluivert at times. Sometimes other players have come into the 10. Where else can he play? Sometimes he can be a bit deep next to, say, Lewis Kirk. He's not as effective there.
Good. It's a difficult one. I think it's just one of them things that just doesn't suit him. I think there's another, definitely one that I can think of. There might be more when we come to them.
Yeah,
players that I just don't think fit Andoni's style. And that's just one of them things. I don't think, Philip Billing on his day, a hell of a player. And listen, he was probably Gary O'Neill's most important player for us.
Absolutely.
And he was our top goal scorer the season before. So crucial. So I think, whatever you think of him, if he were to go, I would wish him all the best. I think he's been really, really good for the football club. Really do. But this system doesn't suit him. What I would say, what's weird is I thought as soon as he come out and we started trying Kluivert and trying Christie deeper, we look better.
Yeah.
So you go, it's a shame for Billing. But his goal may have kept Andoni the job.
Yeah.
That goal against Burnley.
Yeah, 45-yard strike.
Would you say that's our most important goal of the season?
Well, it could be. That was a doors moment, wasn't it?
You got to give him that. But in terms of
overall,
and the way we're going with this tier list as well, where I say I don't see how this guy stays at the football club.
So this has got to be Meh, is it?
And I was going to say maybe because I think he's going, but I'll put him in there because of that Burnley goal.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I'll be shocked if he plays for us again.
Wow. Okay. Fair play. Right. Next, we're going to go for Marcus Tavernier. Running down the wing. Marcus Tavernier. Hear the Bournemouth sing. That's better than Marcus Tavernier.
Mostly.
Anyway.
He's a difficult one because I think he's another one that similar to what I said about Billing in terms of one of Gary O'Neill's most important players.
Missed a few games, missed 8 games, played 30 in the Premier League, popped up with 3 goals. And you know
what? That's
what?
Not enough, is it?
There was a time where he was getting a fair bit of stick.
Yes.
Wasn't there?
Just before he got injured.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, then he obviously came out injured and we were coping okay. But
so he sort of built a rod for his own back with some of his really good performances. And then when he went slightly off the ball, it was maybe more noticeable. And I think Andoni's system perhaps exposes the kind of forward players that don't perform maybe more than defenders do, perhaps. I don't know.
I think what also happened,
it was clear.
You had, so I'd say a lot of the time during that spell where he was criticised, you had him and Semenyo wide. Semenyo was scoring.
Yeah.
Semenyo was, and he wasn't.
And they looked often like there was an imbalance.
Yeah, a little bit.
In many games.
And then you also saw that, for example, Sinisterra was like coming off the bench and looking excited and you're going, how's this guy not? So that probably played to it. He was definitely had a bit of a spell where he wasn't quite on it. What I would say is I think, so a lot of the time he's off that left side, Semenyo was off the right. Smithy was in a lot of the time at right back, reliable as anything. We had Kerkez doing that. And I think the reason he played Tav over Sinisterra was going, got to be careful because Kerkez bombs on a lot. So I think that was part of it. Yeah. I do still think he's very reliable. 3 goals. I think he got 2 at Sheffield United.
Yeah, he did.
So he's only scored in 2 games.
Yeah.
It's not quite good enough, is it?
No.
I was going to put him in decent.
I think he's in decent. No,
you still think he's in decent?
Yeah, no, I think he is because he's
reliable.
And also towards the end of the season, his form visibly picked up, and he was looking good when he came on. So I don't
put it this way. I think
he's not been underwhelming, but he's not been overwhelming.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And put it this way, I think we could sign players in that position. We've got a lot of exciting players in that position. If I had to put money on him starting the first game of the Premier League season, I think he would.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put him in there then.
Yeah. You were going to say decent.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Let's put him in decent.
Yeah.
There you go. Marcus, sorry about that. Next, then, we're going to come to Max Aarons. Max Aarons, who,
Blighted by injury.
Blighted by injury, but also blighted by being an understudy to a veteran player in Adam Smith that's been with us now for a decade and is a player that gets better every season. I would go so far as to say, not his best season for
Could
us,
be.
but his second best maybe.
I think it could be his best.
It's up there.
Yeah, I think it could be.
He was brilliant. And
Yeah, so right. And we're lucky because...
times in the past, you would be seeing who he's up against on the opposition's left flank. You think he's going to be in for a
Never
game. And then, quite often they might expose him and he'd be like, he struggles with his pace.
Yeah.
This season, I don't know how he does it, but there hasn't been that time where I've said once, like he had Smith on toast.
No, I think his footballing intelligence is a lot higher than he gets credit for.
There's only one, maybe Morgan Rogers at Aston Villa, where Adam Smith was maybe caught out, but that was
for the goal. But I think
Christie was frigging around with the
ball. But Morgan Rogers did play more of a 10 role in that game.
Yeah,
but
he was on,
I know what you meant.
He was on that left
for that specific goal.
He was busting the gut, and that was the only time this season I thought he's way out of position. But that's what Andoni's system does.
I think what I'd say about football intelligence, I also think mentality with Smithy. So Aarons was brought in to be our right back. Let's be real. He was brought in to be the right back and Smith was the backup. Hence why Aaron started the season.
Yeah.
Smith was backup. Aaron's got an injury and Smith bloody took his chance. And then when Aaron was back, couldn't get in. Then we tried him. Was it the last game? We tried Aaron's and
Chelsea.
And I thought Aaron's was fine, but I thought Smith's better.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd say that. What I do want to point out, if he's watching, Reevy at Norwich.
Chris Reeve.
Great channel. We had him on when we signed Aaron's.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
They love Stacey, by the way, and credit to him. Two things. Just while we're on it.
Yeah.
One, I said, do you reckon you could push for playoffs? And he went, no chance, Well. And then also, I said to him, Aaron's, obviously, I've seen him enough. He's been in the Premier League, played for the younger England teams. Really excited by him. But my worry is his fitness? Oh, he never gets injured.
I asked him that question.
Never gets injured.
Never.
Well, he's been injured virtually all season. I love Aaron's. I'm more than happy to have him and Smith again as the two right backs. I think it's one of our strongest position. Do we need a right back? We don't, do we? We've got two good ones. Love him, but for him personally, with his injury, he's got going there.
Yeah. And
he hasn't been the season I thought he'd done.
That category suggests under par. And in many ways you could say when he has played he is, but we know what kind of ceiling he's got, and he's got the ability to be flawless. But I think based on that, and it's not necessarily a critical category.
No, I was going to
look at the players we've got in there. Chris Mepham's in there. Jadon Anthony did well for us. Philip Billing, who scored a crucial goal.
I think that's what I was going to quickly say. You got their category there. I think Aaron's is mainly because of injury. Anthony's because he went out on loan. Mepham, he didn't quite get in the team, and Billing because of the systems. They're all quite different. I quite like all four of them, actually. I'm happy with all four of them. But yeah, and I think if Aaron's was doing this tier list, he would put himself in there because he'd be disappointed, but he knows it's a lot of it's down to injury.
Next, Dango Ouattara. Let's
really
go
tough
for him.
one, Dango.
He's a difficult player because you know what? His best performances have been in a position that he's never played before. And
I still remember going to Nottingham Forest away, looking at the team sheet and going, oh my God, I think he's trying Ouattara at left back. And you joke, we're going, he can't be. And then Temple was tweeting going, oh, he is. And we're going, oh my God, I didn't play right. Equally, I think you've got to put the question, there were a few games where I remember Luton in the first half, he was awful at left back and we were 3-0 down. But on the really difficult one because I feel like I do this with both. So I go, he doesn't get enough numbers. He scored like 2 goals since he's been at the club for like over a year. So I go, that's not good enough. And I go, he's a kid. Yeah. Really? So I go, okay, fair enough. And then I go, is he consistent enough? No. Is he playing in different positions all the time? Yeah, fair enough. I think there'll be a player we come on to that I'll allude back to it, but I did mention about, say, Billing, for example, not a similar position. Billing technically has got a lot of qualities that are better than Dango Ouattara. Ouattara suits the system more. Ouattara's got athleticism, power, pace, and I think Andoni loves that.
Well, it's all key to how he plays.
Bloody good in the air.
Yeah.
Bloody good in the air. There was one the other week where I saw him taking a corner. I thought, get him in the box.
He scored a header against Sheffield United, was it?
Yeah.
Great header against them.
He scored in that game and then he scored against Tottenham the season before. That's all he scored. And I do worry about, there was a chance at Chelsea as well. He's one on the keeper and I never thought he'd score. But
one thing that frustrates me about him though is just sometimes the basics. And I'm going to bring up that Villa game again, because in the second half, he was right in front of us, because where we are in a low position, he was playing literally just right in front of us. And the amount of times I think he gave the ball away every time he had it. I think his stats showed that retaining the ball in the second half was appalling. It was a 0% record. And sometimes there's an easy pass and just doesn't make it. But then, like other times, he'll, pick a lock and somehow like find some space to put it across. It's like,
I think if he was mid to late 20s, I'd go, it's not going to work. He's so young.
Raw potential.
There is potential there. And I also think that there was a stage where I thought, does he need to go out and play? I think, no, I think because of the fact that he's shown he's versatile, I think he's good for the squad.
And this is the Premier League.
Yeah. Of course. I think if I had to describe him, I'd go, this is not being harsh, I'd go, he'll get the ball back, he'll beat 3 men with his pace and power, and then he'll kick it into the stand. That's where it's his decision making, I think, at times. But I think there is a player there.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think he could end up being like an understudy, like left back, left winger. I'm not sure. But I think for him personally, considering he's played out of position a lot, I'm going to put him in decent.
Okay.
I think on the whole, I'd go Meh, but I'd go, yeah, but he's playing in a position he never played there before.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put him in decent.
I feel as though the flawless category is very underfurnished at the moment. So look, let's just, I don't know. And I'm not trying to put words into your mouth, but let's go for Illia Zabarnyi next.
Oh.
Zabarnyi, quality.
Yeah, no,
absolutely quality.
I love him. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the Euros as well.
He started off a little bit dodgily. Do you remember that slip against Everton?
That's the only thing I can remember. Is Everton away, where it was a massive error.
He was just like feeling his way into the Premier League, where the whole squad were, weren't they?
Yeah, he got remember he come in last season, but he had injuries, didn't he? And yeah, probably a lot going on personally and stuff as well with him being from Ukraine. But I just think the guy has just been. He's just mustard, isn't he?
I love him.
Absolutely mustard. I do love him. I always thought he was going to be a bit of a brick wall, good in the air, strong. Is he going to be good enough at like kind of playing out and that? I think he's just got better and better with that.
He missed one game.
Was that like the last game or right near the end? Brentford?
He scored for us, didn't he?
Luton
Town. The header that did it go over the line. Yes, it did.
Yeah, I'll go on tech. But I love him.
And he loves us, I think, as well, which is quite an important thing. Sometimes it's a one-way relationship, but you can tell that he's loving it back as well. His partner was as well.
I think he's our best player. I do. Yeah, all round, I think he's our best player. I think he's it's difficult because we know the one I'm thinking about as well, but flawless.
Flawless. All right, next we'll come on to James Hill, who's not played much.
It's just like watching James Hill. Yeah, what I would say is, we alluded to loans with Jadon.
5 appearances, by the way.
Yeah.
73 minutes worth of football.
We got him back early though, didn't we, because of injuries. And then he got injured. Do you remember when he had to fill in at left back? And he was brilliant.
Yeah, he was.
And then we watched him in a cup game and he got injured and he was like crying because he thought, because we recalled him from Blackburn early and Blackburn really liked him.
Yeah.
And I think what's happened as well, he's centre back, that Blackburn used him at right back a few times and he looked good there. I think he could be someone that we said about Mepham could go out.
Yeah.
I think we won't need to sign a backup because I think Hill will just step up.
That is him, yeah.
I put it this way, I think, have you ever seen James Hill have a bad game for us? I know it's a very small sample size. Cups, he's always, he's really fine, isn't he?
Yeah. Very reliable.
And I think that, I don't think I would put him in there because I think that he knew he wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
And he was fine for Blackburn, come in, done a decent job. So for him, I'm going to put him in decent. Absolutely fine for me. I didn't expect any more. Yeah. And I think he's someone that could get higher. Right,
we might zip through a few now. Right, Radu, goalie. Saw him play twice, did we?
More than that, I think.
I think it was twice.
Was it only twice?
Yeah, it was only twice.
No.
Was it?
I know he played against Burnley.
Yeah.
He played at City. Did he play at City? No, not... Yeah, he did.
Twice.
It's only twice?
Yeah, 13 times he was named in the squad, though. And he played, twice.
No, I'm thinking cups, aren't I?
Yeah.
But I played against Burnley. First win. No.
Just not seen enough of him.
We haven't seen enough of him. But equally, he knows that if you're coming in on loan from Inter Milan, you want to try and dislodge the number one. He ended up going from trying to dislodge the number one to number 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So he just got worse. He's all right. He done okay. I never thought... I always felt like we wanted him to step up to try and compete with Neto, and he was never good enough. He won't play for us again. Bin. Put him in a bin.
Bin.
Yeah, put him in a bin.
Okay, bin. Right, next, Luis Sinisterra. Sinisterra's dynamo.
I love it in the circle about that goal against Fulham. By the way.
You know what? I'm pleased for him that Leeds didn't get promoted because it sort of vindicates his move a little bit.
I'm not, because he'd have scored there. He's that sort of character, I think.
I'm pleased for Max Aarons, who walks out the medical. I'm pleased for Andoni Iraola, who apparently was being tempted by a move to Ellen Road, but alas, didn't prove to be the case. Luis Sinisterra.
Injuries again.
Which
Leeds did say.
Was scored in one of my sort of favourite wins of the season on Boxing Day against Fulham.
Yeah, what a
Won
goal.
the goal where he cut from the left. What a goal that was.
One of our goals. Goal of the season?
And Sinisterra is dynamite. Scored a couple for us. 20 appearances in the Premier League, playing 691 minutes. This is a really difficult one when you've got a player that's literally played almost half the season.
I feel like it's quite easy, actually.
Yeah.
I think he'd come in, we knew he's going to be special. See if we sign him, which we have, and I think he's still young. A lot more out of him. Has he been disappointing? No. Has he hit the levels because of injuries? No.
So you're saying
decent.
All right.
Zip through it, mate. But I do like him. I do really, really like him. I think if he stays fit, I like having. We said about like Tavernier. I think we need more wingers that can get goals, and I think if he plays, he'll get goals.
Next, David Brooks, a player who's got promotion on his CV with 2 South Coast clubs.
Got it from on the final though. Done his shoulder, didn't he?
Hopefully it's not bad.
Done a Richard Jackson, didn't it?
He was in absolute pain and it cried his eyes out a little bit. You can understand why.
Yeah.
This is interesting. He obviously wanted to play more than what Andoni could provide him with. I think he probably has for Southampton.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's been named on the bench, but a lot of the times he started. And there have been some moments that I've seen of him in a Saints shirt where he's been sublime.
Yeah.
I remember a game against Huddersfield, was it? Where him and Jay Rothwell both managed to change the game. I think it ended up 5-3 to Saints or something. Huddersfield were like 2-0 up or something.
Yeah.
And, there have been, and even, you see these little through balls he plays. He's got a bit more freedom you sense at Saints where he can sort of drift in.
Yep.
There was nearly a wonder goal he scored in the playoff semi-finals where he ran from his own half and just, he got the shot away. But I think Saints fans like him. We like him, but does he work in Andoni Iraola's system?
Well, you knew, didn't you, when I was saying about Billing and a few others?
Yeah.
Another player that I think technically is a superb footballer. Don't work. I don't think it works. And the only thing I would say about Brooksy, and listen, there's obviously underlying circumstances and why I think people forget the reason he's demanded first team football has been years because of his illness. So, I was pleased for him to get a loan, rather another club. The only thing I would say is I thought that's going to get him promoted. I know they have got promoted. I don't think he was the reason. I thought he'd rip it up. And then I saw them doing a few polls and most of them wouldn't sign him.
Right. So then would that have changed?
I don't know.
After their promotion,
I still look at him and go, he should be their best player in the chat. And I don't think he's a guaranteed starter. No. So that's a bit of a concern. I just think he's got, like I say, technically, for example, as a footballer, he's better than Tavernier, he's better than Ouattara, in my opinion. Yeah. Andoni's system, nowhere near. He would have wanted to have broke into the team with a new manager. He played 273 minutes over 13 games. So I'm averaging that out at 21 minutes per game, which shows you that mainly he was named on one of them. I was pleased for him to score against Brentford. That was a really nice moment. His first Premier League goal. Big goal since coming back from cancer, that great breakaway goal he scored. I would love him to come back and thought, I can't see it, mate. I said to you, I got this feeling, I don't know why, but that he's loved at Sheffield United. That's where he kind of broke through. They've just gone down and got parachute payments. So I wonder if they'll look at him as that could be a sign. I think if we can cash him, we probably will. I would quite like him to be involved in the squad, but I don't think it's going to work with the system. He would have wanted to break in more. Meh. Got him, mate. Yeah. Okay. Next then, we're going to go for Mark Travers. Super Mark Travers in goal. Ball back from Stoke. Rarely played but even though Neto wasn't, in most fans' eyes, not doing too well in goal. So it must have been frustrating for him. But then he did get a chance towards the end of the season. I think he took his chance well. He wasn't unbelievable, but he managed to catch balls. He managed to distribute well. He was good with his feet. I didn't see anything wrong with him. But I've just got this feeling that the club, I don't know this for a fact, people at the club maybe just don't regard him as a Premier League keeper for some reason. Whereas I think he's done, in many ways, maybe better than Neto has. He's, in my opinion, he's a miles better goalkeeper than Neto. Well, I don't think that's too difficult. My personal opinion, but I think Travers is probably a perfect number 2, and I think he's probably got to an age where he wants to play, so I think he'll probably go.
And he, Stoke fans loved him, didn't they?
They said their season just went off the rails and they let him go. We met a Stoke fan at an event we went to.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to him. We just recalled him, and he was just sat on the bench for us, and he was fuming. He said he said he was the best goalkeeper he's seen at Stoke.
Bloody hell.
And you've just taken him, put him on the bench, and now we're crap. And then he come in for us, kept a couple of clean sheets straight away, played really well. And then, last game of the season, last game of the season, put Neto back in, and I think both goals Travers would have stopped.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So, yeah, I think he's better than Neto, but I don't see him staying. I don't think he's done anything wrong for us. He was liked at Stoke, but he hadn't played enough minutes for us, so I'm going to have to put him in just decent.
Just decent, yeah.
Because I thought I'm putting into the equation that he's done well at Stoke.
Absolutely.
If he was sat on the bench at Stoke, I'd put him lower. But unfortunately, I think he'll go. I'd love him to be number 2, but equally, if he went somewhere and played every week, I'd go fair play.
Next, we've got Hamid Traore or Junior Traore, depending on your persuasion. Now, this is a difficult one. 3 games he played, 44 minutes. He was named in the squad 10 times, but the Ivorian was blighted by sort of malaria or something. And at some point, it was unclear whether he's going to play again.
Yeah.
He's got sent out on loan. Napoli. They've got an option to buy, haven't they, Napoli? And I don't know how well he's done, but obviously not enough for them to maybe be tempted to part with their cash.
No, I don't think they're going to take up on that. And Napoli, I think they've for the first time in years, they've missed out on Europe. And in Italy, by the way, you get like 8-9 places in Europe because they've done well in the coefficient. They've still missed out. I don't think it's quite worked. I think they've said he's been okay, but he's kind of gone there and been like he was for us, just coming off the bench. I think for us, every time I've watched him, I've thought, doesn't do enough.
I remember he had a semi-good half against Brighton, but that was
O'Neill.
Yeah,
it's a long time ago.
Exactly, that was last season.
But there's a part of me that thinks the type of player he is a bit more Andonius. He's quite lively. But I don't see it. I don't see how we're going to get our money back. At the moment, he's still young. 24, but at the moment I don't see how that was good business. He was over 20 million quid. I think that was an absolute dud.
Yeah.
I don't see how he plays for us. I'm putting him in a bin.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
He might, but I don't see it.
Bin. Right, next then, Lewis Cook. I love Lewis Cook. I absolutely love him. I think he loves the club as well.
Extended his contract as well.
Yeah, 33 times this season for Bournemouth, and we were all kind of wondering whether his prime was kind of early Premier League days for Bournemouth. This season was his prime.
Yeah, finally the season, fully fit, virtually all of it, which I think has been the main reason, hasn't it?
I think he's taken a bit of responsibility off Lerma in some ways. He's sort of taken the responsibility on of the, that's emotional for you, isn't it? The kind of tough tackling midfielder, defensive midfielder, but also very good with the ball. We know he's quality on the ball.
Love him.
Yeah, I love him to score.
Yeah, I was just about to say, there's a few I could dip into. So I was going to say, with the Christie figure, I was thinking, but do you expect more from Christie because he does play more advanced, probably, goals-wise. So that's why I'm not going to put it. I don't expect Lewis to score.
But sometimes he pops up with like free kicks, like they put him on it. Like, why is Lewis taking it? But either way, I think he's been quality.
Yeah, he's been quality. And I think the only difference I could say to him and Christie is I don't expect him to score, is I expect Christie to get a couple.
Yeah. And then Christie work well together.
They do. And then I'd also go to kind of what we were talking about with Alex Scott. I think what's happened with Lewis is injuries. This is previous, by the way. And then also in the past, I think we've gone, is he an 8? Is he we don't really know. And I think we found it now. Yeah, and hopefully this is what will happen with Alex, because it's similar. But for me, because I don't expect him to score like I do Christie, I'm going to put him in flawless.
Wow, okay.
I don't remember watching a game this season where I've gone, Lewis wasn't very good.
No, not at all.
So I'm putting him in there, mate. Yeah. I adore him. And for me, people talk about, I think it's good, by the way, Adam Wharton suddenly got in the England squad because he's had a good few months. Lewis Cook's had a good season.
Yeah, there you go. Tyler Adams, just not, this is another player that we managed to grab from Leeds, but again, not seen enough, blighted by injury.
We're good to get injured players, aren't we?
118 minutes over 3 games, named in the squad 5 times. I think the plan is, for Alex Scott and Tyler Adams to almost become integral within our team, like number 6 and number 8, maybe. But I got a feeling that we will see more of him next season. But this season, we certainly didn't see enough. Injured, but when he came on, he did all right. There's nothing wrong with him. But...
Yeah, always played well when he played, but it's a very small sample size, as I say. But it's a real blow with injuries. I think we've got a really good player. We forget how young he is. He's still only mid-20s. He's the American captain for a reason. I think having players that have got that captaincy and stuff when we've got quite a young group is important. I think he's obviously liked. I think he'll be a really good player for us. But this season,
he's going to build up our reputation within the US.
Absolutely. You can see why we signed him. I think he is a good footballer. But this season, and happened, so we've got to put him in there.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be top for us.
Yeah. And that's, yeah, exactly. Not a criticism whatsoever. Next then, Romain Faivre. What do we know of him? Not much, really, do we?
No, and I think the fact that he come back early from Lorient, and I thought, we're going to use him. And then even when the season was kind of pretty much done, we had injuries, we still didn't really use him.
5 games, 36 minutes. He's your last 5 sub.
Yeah, is he? Do you see him? We haven't seen enough. Do you think he could become something?
You know what? It's like if we had a haven't seen enough category, I don't know. I mean, what I can say is that there have been some games where he's come on and he's shown a bit of energy. And he's like, you know what? He looked quite useful when he came on. But that's all you can say, really. Yeah. Hasn't changed the game or anything, but looks good on the ball, looks energetic. But apart from that,
see what he's like in pre-season. Stick him in there. I'm not going to bin him. It's not fair.
No,
we haven't seen enough. And like you say, little flashes, but it's really, really hard to judge.
Justin Kluivert.
Oh, yeah. He's coming to his own since he went as that number 10, mate.
Grown as the season developed. Seems to absolutely love the club. Love hearing him speak. You can tell he's kind of, he's sort of young and naive with some things he says, but he's got a wise head on his shoulders as well. He's very likeable. Obviously takes the experience from his dad. Obviously likes to work hard and does work hard. I think he's a player that for a lot of the season has usually been substituted on around 60 minutes, sort of plays 2/3 of the game. I think as the season developed, he sort of played more minutes, but he's obviously a high intensity, high impact player. His pressing is phenomenal. And as the season went on, it got the numbers as well. And I've said this many a time on the pod that we did, like some of his finishes at the start were a bit like, he was lucky to get a goal. They were becoming more and more emphatic as the season went on. The confidence was growing. And in some people's minds, he was in the conversation for player of the season.
I think if you had like a most improved or like surprise, him and Christie are just smashing everyone. But I think what's interesting is that he was signed mainly, we thought he'd be a winger. Start of the season, he was a winger that I thought, he's all right. And then we decided randomly to just shove him in a 10. I thought, I can't see this. And then I seen him changed. And he was massive to that. Mentioned it with Billing coming out of the team, but Kluivert going in there changed our season. I think that was so pivotal. We just found that position for him.
I've got a smile on my face when thinking about him. So that shows how I...
And I think anyone in that role that Andoni asks is going to come off earlier because they're going to be knackered. But the way he presses them is just, you see it more and more. I remember like Wolves away, I think because it was quite recent. That first half when we blew them away should have been like 10-0 up. He just wins the ball back so high. He doesn't stop.
Do you remember the goal against Sheffield United where Wes Foderingham? He was chasing down a lost cause there.
Yeah, just brilliant, mate. I really, really like him. And I think there is still a case where he can play off a wide area as well, which is pivotal to have. I think he's unlucky to not have tried to get into that Holland squad. I mean, they're a good squad, so I can see why in that sense. But I think he's had a good season. Put him in Bravo.
Yeah,
easy.
Bravo. Absolutely agree with that. Right, next on the radar, Milos Kerkez. Oh, that's not the reaction I expected. I mean, the thing is, he's good. He's been hit and miss, isn't he? Really,
he's good, but he's
star of the future. I mean, he's young.
Very young. That's what I'm going to put into consideration. Forget how young he is. Was he like? He's 19 or something. 18?
He's very young.
It'd be interesting to see how he does in the Euros. I think quite often at Hungary.
20.
He's 20 now. I think quite often with Hungary, he plays in like wing back or wide midfield, which I could see. I remember the United game where he moved him up midfield because Sinisterra got injured. Man United at home.
Oh yeah, so Ouattara as a...
No, Kelly come on. Left back.
Kelly was back for them, wasn't he? Yeah.
He come on because Sinisterra got injured and we moved Kerkez up, and Kerkez was brilliant.
Yeah.
But I think there's a hell of a player there. I'm not sure about him online, whether it's him or not.
Why?
Personally, I'm not sure if we'll keep him.
What's this online stuff you're talking about?
I think his head's been turned.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Did he post a picture of Raheem Sterling or something?
Quite like Chelsea, didn't he?
Yeah.
I do think his head may have been turned, but we'll get our money back in them some because we made a good deal there, in my opinion. He's still a good player. I think injuries have caused a bit of a problem. But yeah, I'm putting him in decent, mate.
Decent.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Next then, Joe Rothwell. This is difficult. I think he made 13 appearances.
He started the season a lot.
13,
Remember
which is absolutely mental.
First game of the season, played quite well and then gave him a goal.
11, yeah.
Remember?
He did, yeah, West Ham.
Yeah, I think he got his first goal for us in the Cup as well against Stoke.
Yeah.
Free kick, shot cross. But he wasn't good enough. Sent him out to Southampton. I thought, at least he'll get minutes there. And he scored a few goals for him.
Yeah.
But they quickly decided he wasn't good enough.
He scored a wonder goal against Huddersfield, I think, again.
Yeah, he scored some goals. But I think since he comes to the club, he's been injured as done. He's just shown he's not good enough. Put him in the bin.
No disrespect in
No, I don't mind Rothwell at all. I think he's a good player, good championship player. But
so another loan signing then, someone who's gone out on loan, Kieffer Moore.
He's done it again, hasn't he? Goes there and gets the team over the line. We got him in January and he got us over the line. He scored some big goals for us. I think they'll sign him.
Only scored one goal for us this season. Only the one.
What, Palace?
Yeah. 8
he scored in the Cup as well.
appearances.
Yeah,
QPR. He did, yeah.
I think he was a
He was just likeable though.
He's a backup at Dom, perfect backup. And then we decided to upgrade with Unal, fair play. But he's gone on the chat. I think he'd be one of the best strikers in the Championship if you play to his strengths.
He's not decent though, is he?
Yeah, he is. Because he's meh, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, overall as a package, he's decent because he helped Ipswich get promoted. Yeah. But for us personally, meh, yeah, put him in there. But I think
that's not necessarily his fault.
No. I think he will go to Ipswich because I think it looks like McKenna will hopefully stay for him. I think he'll go there, be kind of backup and do fine. And he's been a success. He wasn't much money.
Yeah.
He helped get us promoted and he's been a good backup option. I like Kieffer. Like him a lot.
Okay, next then we're going to go for Lloyd Kelly, departing Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah.
We all know where he's going to be going, but look, what can you say about Lloyd? He's a player that's always, we've had high expectations of him from the get-go, and sometimes it's not quite been there. When he has played this season, I think he's been superb for us.
Yeah, whether that be left back or centre back.
Yeah, but then in the same breath, I would say that when he's not played, I don't think we've been like, we could have done with Kelly there.
I find it really strange actually, because I was going to say that, because I was going, when he plays, I think he's our best player, our best defender. He's so good on the ball, he's so quick, and blah, blah, blah. And then he comes out because he's always injured, and we went on a really good run. So I go,
Is it? Yeah.
What I would say is, people say how good he is, which I agree. I don't think he's ever been fit for a season.
No, 23 games he played this season.
He does, but he's always had a spell of injuries. And I think if it is Newcastle, they need to keep hold of him in terms of fitness-wise.
His versatility is a real key factor that, of course, people like Eddie absolutely love and will love again. It's
a key factor, but it also means he can't be consistent, in my opinion, because he's playing really well at left-back, and then suddenly we have to play him at centre-back for a game. And I think that he struggles with that, and that's not his fault. But be a good sign. I always thought he'd leave eventually and go higher. I'm going to put him in decent.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he had stayed fit for most of the season, he could have easily gone the category above, but it'll be a good signing. It'll be a good signing for him, and I wish him all the best.
Next, we got our number one goalkeeper there, Neto. I think this one is a difficult one because there are some people that want to stick with their man. We've been critical of him. We know we have, but then it's only been based on what we've seen and the kind of goals that we've conceded. I think the fact that the Daily Echo have had to even do an article that analyses each and every one of our goals and explain which ones are Neto's fault and which ones aren't, that indicates that there has been a problem there. He's obviously a brilliant man for the changing room.
Clearly.
He's a great shot stopper, as keepers should be, but then, I suppose with all keepers, there are some shots he should save, like, for instance, at Chelsea with their second goal that maybe he could have done better with. I don't think he claims the ball well enough. I think his positioning's not particularly great. His catching's not great. Sometimes he flaps a little bit. It's so difficult. But then when you've got a keeper that's like that, your defence are going to be maybe a little bit more retreating because of that. Because you're trying to make up for it. I noticed the difference as soon as Travers came in.
Yeah.
Our defence seemed to be a lot higher. It could have been down to the opposition that we were playing or not, but they seemed to be really confident with his inclusion. Where was it? Wolverhampton Wanderers. He played and he was brilliant, and he came out and he just looked really commanding, something that Neto never looked. But this is a really tough one without sounding harsh and overly critical.
Yeah, we've gone into it enough, and I think you've gone into it, summarised it quite well there, mate. But for me, I still says, and I'm one of his biggest critics, and I think because I kind of the clubs he's been at and his age and the fact that he's captain, he should take on more responsibility, in my opinion. But I wouldn't bid him. I think he'd be a good backup. But that's my issue, is I think he's the perfect number 2. And that's why he's in his mid-30s and he spent his whole career as a number 2. Because he's great in the dressing room.
Yeah.
If you had to bring him in for the odd game, fine. But I think we should be aiming higher for a number 1. But I wouldn't bid him because I think he'll be a good number 2. And then we've got a lot of young goalkeepers coming through. Callum McKenna, we're looking to sign another one that he could help. And I would keep him around the place, not as a number 1.
Can I give you a real world example? This is an awful one, and this is recent as well. I had an MOT on my car on Friday.
I know, you told me.
And it failed.
I know, you told me.
And I've not got an old car, but the front 2 tyres, I think the tread was, needed sorting. So 2 new tyres. I asked for like the budget ones. Like, no, we haven't got any in stock. Typical quick fit. Had to pay premium.
Of course.
Premium. And then literally, like, I've used my car once since then. I drove over a nail. Now, that's not the tyres' fault, but what I'm saying is you feel the pinch a little bit more when you've paid out so much money for something that has maybe not been performing. If it was if it was a budget purchase, you could maybe forgive it a little bit more, be like, oh, it don't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know.
Because he's on a lot of money by the sounds of it.
I think he's one of the highest paid, which makes me think.
Is that a good analogy? Have I done okay?
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was crap, but I get what you're saying. And yes, I know that the MOT's right in your head at the moment because we just had to pay out. But yeah, listen, I would have him as a really good number 2, great around the place. But for me, I think we can do better. But I'll put him in there because he has played most of the season. It's been a successful season.
Yeah. Nah. Okay. And I'm not joking about the tyre, by the way. Like, that's a picture. I'm, I'm over it. I'm over it. Oh, there you go. That's the nail through the tyre.
I'm tired of hearing about it.
Angry. Yeah. Right. It's 2 to go. Oh, we're not going to leave the best till last, like they did with the shirts on the. So yeah, we'll do Dom Solanke. Flawless.
Stay. I'm not sure if he's going to stay. I really want him to stay.
Yeah.
I
mean, the whole England thing might have.
I think that could work either way because you've made the point, and I said the same when we did a show on it, that he might think I can't get an English squad because I play for Bournemouth. But equally, if he had gone and performed, he'd have got more chance of going because he would have done well.
Yeah, but he also will be aware of the fact that it's not necessarily the club because Ivan Toney got initially selected, of course.
Yeah, wait and see.
Playing for Brentford, he finished a lot lower than us, so it's not necessarily that.
And I don't think, we're just going to the England thing really quickly, I don't think that Dom or Tony should go personally, because I think you've got enough in Kane and Watkins and then midfielders that can play up top, but he should have been looked at, in my opinion. But anyway, unbelievable amount of goals, just everything we do is around Dom. Please stay Dom, put him in flawless now.
There you go. Right then, last is Adam Smith then, and we've obviously alluded to how he's done when talking about Max Aarons, but what can you say about this, AFC Bournemouth legend? And you know what? I think the word legend is overused these days. Like someone will come back from the bar with a bonus packet of crisps that you never expected, but legend. But come on, let's stop using that word lazily.
Depends on the crisp.
This guy's an actual legend.
It almost annoys me.
What?
That he doesn't seem to get I don't get it. What? He's been at the club so long, and people don't seem to talk about him like that. Like you just did, which I agree. That he's a legend. I don't get it. So I can't remember what.
It's not a very glamorous position though, is it? Right back.
No, I suppose not.
He's also been, probably, rightly so. There have been times where he's sort of criticised fans for laying on a bit too thick at times, which maybe creates a little bit more
whatever
needle. I don't know. We always love the guy.
What we'll say is we've had the playoffs recently, and I was chatting to someone about playoffs and stuff, and we were talking about different things, and someone said, but have you ever, because we obviously got automatically promoted, and obviously then it was COVID. Can you remember playoffs? I said, yeah, we got promoted back in, when we beat Lincoln all them years ago. I said, but we did have the playoffs since then under Lee Bradbury. We lost to Huddersfield at the semi-final. And I just had a little look. I was going, we had the squad, we had Danny Ings up front, blah, blah. And I said, Adam Smith was right back. He's been here fucking ages.
Remember that goal? Was it 3-3 at
Peterborough? I was there. He was on telly.
Yeah, that little squirm of the keeper. But
Joe Lewis was in goal. Why do I remember that? Steve Fletcher header back across. But so he played then. I mean, why do we not give him I don't know. But I love him, and one of his best seasons at the football club, in my opinion. Him and Aarons battling it out for right back next season is fine by me. I think it's the position we don't even need to look at, because I think whichever one plays is a good right back. Bravo.
Yep. There we go. And look, there are other mentions that we could give players that have played some minutes. Unlike, for instance, Dominic Solanke played like 7 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think Kilkenny ever played minutes.
No,
he's one that's in the squad. Marcondes.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Well, we just didn't think it was worth it.
I think others that were named in the squad, like Kinsey Welling.
Oh, yeah.
Who we all thought was going to be starting. Radio 2, Zoe Ball Breakfast, or whatever it was.
Ben Greenwood, he's just left, I think.
Ben Greenwood as well.
Wish him all the best. But yeah, there's a few in there. Will Dennis who ended up going on loan. I think
McKenna was named in the squad 3 times as well.
Yeah, I think what we just mentioned on that, because people could say, well, Randolph and Fredericks haven't played. The reason they're in it is because I expected them to do more.
And Michael Costa as well was named.
Oh, yeah.
4 times.
Yeah, Da Costa, yeah, forget about that. Adu Ajay, come on at QPR.
Yeah.
So, there's a few in there. But I think that was fair, the kind of main squad that we've done there. And, I think that's fair ratings there, mate.
When you look at it, considering that we've spoke about the different categories and said that Mayor is not necessarily a criticism, when it's weighted like that, when you've got, if you're going to call the top 4 categories all right or good as a whole, and then you've got the 5th one, which is maybe underwhelming / disappointed.
Yes.
We've done all right, haven't we?
We've done absolutely fine, mate. And I've tried to, I could easily put loads of them in flawless, to be honest. That whole Bravo category I could put at the top, but we're, trying to be kind of fair in our assessments. Yeah, I think that's all right. If I was going
to change one, I'd put Christie in flawless.
I'm debating it.
I agree with you.
See what people think in the chat about that, because I was gonna, and then I thought, he's more of an 8. Bombs on more than Lewis, and he hasn't got a Premier League goal. It's the only reason. And I want to don't want to raise the bar too high. Let's see if he can get a goal this season. But let us know, and I want to say to him, let us know in the comments, if you could only change one, what would you change?
Christie for me. Look, we named 4 people in the player of the season. 3 of them are in flawless. Christie's there, languishing in Bravo.
It's fair. That's a fair point.
I
voted for him as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, look, thanks.
I've got Scotland in my head, don't I? The Euros coming up.
Thanks for watching. I hope you appreciate it. Thanks for listening as well, because this has been an audio pod as well. You know what you can do on the audio pod. Just leave us a review. But on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and do all those good things. Up the cherries. Come on.
Come on, England.